I am not sure if anyone is going to be joining me on this, but I thought I would just go live randomly before I have dinner. So I wanted to come on live quickly just to talk about a topic. If you have been seeing my recent YouTube videos, I think a couple of weeks ago, I've been starting to review some people's budgets, and it got me thinking about, okay, there's a reason why some people aren't really consistent with their budget. Maybe you always try to start a budget, but you're not really sure what's going on. By the time it gets to the end of the month, the budget is kind of thrown out of the window, and then you have no idea what's going on, and then you have to start from scratch every time. So honestly, I just wanted to come on live and talk about why you might not be consistent with your budget and what to think about doing instead. So let's talk about the first thing, why you might not be consistent with your budget. The first reason is because you may think that you have to do the same method as everyone else. Oh my gosh, I have someone joining. Very surprising. Anyway, so the first reason why I wanted to talk about why you might not be consistent with your budgeting is that you might be trying to feel like you have to do the same method as everyone else when it comes to having a budget. So if you guys, if you know me, if you've seen my videos, you may know that I do a budget on spreadsheets. And the reason why is because I absolutely love spreadsheets. I love the little calculations. I love the little formulas. I like looking at the numbers on my screen. I really enjoy that. However, when I first started trying to do my budget, I wasn't actually using the budget that I use now. I had bought this book and it came with a budget template, and so I ended up using that budget template. And there was nothing wrong with the template, but it just wasn't for me. So in that budget, it included a section where you would basically track your spending for every single category. So you would put how much you spent on groceries, how much you spent on toiletries, eating out, entertainment, anything. You would literally track on the spreadsheet how much you spent during that week. And I found that, honestly, I didn't really like it. I kept forgetting to track it. I kept forgetting to go back to the budget every single week, and it was just a little bit confusing for me. So what I decided to do is, rather than just not be consistent with the budget because I feel like, oh, I should be using this is what I'm supposed to use, what I decided to do is I said, you know what, I'm going to use my own budget. I'm going to make my own. I'm going to include what I want in the budget. And that's exactly what I did. So I ended up making my own. I tweaked it. I decided to put in certain categories that I wanted, that I thought worked for me, and I used it as my budget. And to this day, I still use that same budget. And it was because I decided that I'm not going to just use the same method as everyone else. I'm not going to use the same spreadsheet as someone has given me. I'm going to just make it my own. So you may not be consistent with budgeting because you may feel like, oh, you have to use this specific budgeting method. You have to specifically use this template for your budget. So that's the first reason. What I would say with that is you want to think about, okay, how can I use the budget to my advantage? How can I use it and make it work for me? Even with my own templates, like some people will use my templates. I've had clients use my templates and they will customize it how they want. My template isn't there for you to have it like set in stone. It's there to use as guidance. So if you're someone who feels like, oh, you have to use this specific template, you have to do it like this, that's not necessarily the case. And I've also had clients who have decided to not even use spreadsheets at all when it comes to their budgeting. Someone even thought, actually, I'm going to experiment using cash. And so she thought that might be a better method for her. So don't always think that you have to use the same method as everyone else. What do you do? I'm a money coach. I am a money coach, and I specifically help spenders save more money. So that is what I do. let's talk about the second thing now. And the second reason why you might not be consistent is because you might be thinking that your budget has to be perfect. And again, all of these reasons are things that I pretty much experienced, things that I made mistakes on and then had to rectify it. So I'm definitely talking from experience here. So when I'm saying that you think that your budget has to be perfect, I remember that when I first started trying to use my budget, I thought that every single category, every single section had to be correct. And what I mean by this is if I told myself, okay, I'm going to budget 50 for groceries, if I told myself that, then I would have to spend 50 on groceries and that was it. If I went over, then I did a really bad job with my budget. If I went under, then it wasn't, as good as I thought I budgeted. So I really kept thinking that my budget had to be perfect, but what I realized is that flexibility is actually more useful than having a perfect budget. I rarely have a perfect budget. Like if you guys look at my budgeting videos, rarely do we end up spending the amount that we say that we're going to spend. But I'm actually okay with that because I still hit my savings goals. So for me, it doesn't really make a difference. So if, for example, I say, okay, I'm going to budget 200 for groceries and I spend 220 instead, that's okay, because typically what happens is that I end up spending less in some of my other areas anyway. So really ask yourself, do you feel like your budget has to be perfect? Do you feel like every single time if you budget something and it doesn't go the way that you want it to go, do you then end up giving up? And is that the reason why you're not consistent? For some of you, it may be. It may be that you feel like, oh no, I have to spend this amount that I've allocated. And if I go over, then it's the end of the world. And then I just give up with the whole entire budgeting process. So really ask yourself, am I trying to make my budget perfect? And remembering that no budget is going to be perfect. I rarely have a perfect budget. Pretty much every single month, there are some changes here and there, and I'm totally okay with that. Not a problem, not too bothered at all. So where are you allowing yourself to be much more flexible when it comes to your budget? Where are you allowing yourself to be more flexible when it comes to picking, okay, groceries, I anticipate I'm going to spend this amount, but being okay if you spend a different amount? So that's the second reason why you might not be consistent with your budgeting. And if you guys have got any other questions as well, do let me know. This live wasn't planned, so I don't know if there's going to be many people hopping on, but yeah, let me know if you've got any questions. And then the third point I want to talk about is the reason why you might not be consistent with your budget is because you only feel like you should be including your bills in your budget. This is a big thing. This is a big thing. And this is something that I kind of have to like really tell my clients to really think about, because many times they end up just putting like their main bills. So if you've got like direct debits, you might be putting your rent, your mortgage, your utility bills, your SIM contract, your groceries bill, your transport. But then my thing is, that's great. Of course you want to include that. But where are you including the other things? Where are you including all of your other general spending? Where are you including you going out to eat with your mates? Where are you including you going to the cinema? Where are you including you going to Costa or Starbucks every other week when you go to work? Where are you including all of those things? And I think the reason why typically people don't do it is because they feel like they shouldn't. They feel like, oh no, the budget's just there for me to make sure that I pay my bills. Yes, you can use that, but actually I use the budget for my spending. If we're going to be completely honest, I don't actually use my budget to help me pay my bills, because really and truly my bills remain the same all the time. As long as I have enough money to pay it, then it's fine. I don't actually really need my budget for that. What I use my budget for is my spending. I use my budget to help me think about, okay, how often do I want to go out this month? Am I going to be seeing friends? Have I got like birthday parties to go to? Am I going to be going on coffee dates? Anything like that? That's what I actually use my budget for. So rather than just thinking that, oh, I need to use my budget to pay my bills, you need to also be thinking about your actual spending. And that's why you may not be consistent if you're not doing that, because what might happen is that you may just be including your bills, but then at the end of the month, you find that you've been spending all of this money, but you can't account for it because you didn't budget for it. And then you end up overspending, you don't save as much money, and then you feel like, okay, the budget just doesn't work for me. No, the budget works, but the reason why it's not working for you is because you're not using it to its fullest potential. So you really want to think about, okay, if I have my budget, yes, I've got my bills sorted, that's great, but how can I also budget my spending? And don't be afraid to put your spending in there. I sometimes feel like we don't want to put our spending in there because we feel like, it's almost like we feel as if the budget is going to judge us, as if we're not allowed to spend money. We're not allowed to spend money on restaurants, on takeout, or on anything else. And I always say that at the end of the day, your budget doesn't have any emotions. Your budget doesn't do anything. All your budget does is it will show you the numbers, but it is you who will decide how you're going to spend your money. And that's it. So if you feel like your budget is judging you, it's because you are judging yourself. And you have to ask yourself, are you happy that you're judging yourself? Do you want to judge yourself for going out to Starbucks or Costa, or going out to see your friends? Because if that's the case, then that's obviously a different conversation. But when it comes to including your spending in your budget, all you're simply doing is you're just asking yourself, how do I want to spend my money this month? And I don't think we should be judging ourselves for deciding how we want to spend our money, because mainly we're going to end up spending it anyway. So I would rather just have it there in the budget just for me to like see it, so that I know, rather than acting surprised at the end of the month because I simply was too scared to just put it in the budget. I would rather be more proactive and say, actually, I already know I'm going to spend this amount. And so at the end of the month, I know that I've spent this amount and I'm okay with it. So that might also be a reason why you are not consistent with your budget. Are there any questions? If there are any questions, do let me know. And if you do want more support when it comes to sticking to your budget so that you can save more money, maybe you're trying to save up for a house deposit, maybe you're trying to save up for a car or an emergency fund or anything like that, that's exactly what one-on-one money coaching is for. I will help you save your first 5K so that you can actually work towards some of those savings goals. So make sure you book a call with me to find out more. The link is in the description. And yeah, we can chat and see how I can help you actually save more money. But I don't seem to see if there's any other questions apart from what do I do, which I answered earlier. I'm just on my laptop actually. I'm about to have dinner. I don't usually go live on a Wednesday night, but I actually ended up filming today. So I thought, I've got the lights, so why not go live? And yeah, chat about one of my favorite topics, budgeting. And if you do have any other questions as well, you can of course DM me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram actually. If you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, make sure you do, because I do have other content there. But anyway, hopefully next time I will actually plan out the live so that you guys can join me live. Just wanted to say I'm really excited to listen to you live. Oh, that's so nice. Do you know what? This year I did say that I want to go live more often. Last week though, when I went live, I used my husband's laptop and it just went kaput. And I was in the middle of a live and it just shut down. And then I had to try to start it again. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is just too much. So I thought, do you know what? I feel like the ones where you just don't plan it and you just show up, they're the better ones. And I thought, let me just go on my phone and let me go live. And I've not had any technical difficulties. So sometimes simple is better. Simple is better. But I will hold on to see if there's any other questions, and then hopefully in the future, if I do some, random Wednesday lives, typically it will be on a Wednesday, I will let you guys know in advance so that you can join me live. But anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there. I don't see any other questions. So again, if you do need more support, if you want to be able to save your first 5K, that's what one-on-one coaching is for. So make sure you book a call with me to find out more. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good evening. Actually, a couple of life updates, because I usually share this on Instagram. But you know, since I'm live here, I am thinking that I'm going to start putting more stuff when it comes to my budget templates and my Etsy store as well. So make sure you check that out too if you are interested in any like spreadsheets or trackers or anything like that. I'm also going to be adding that stuff onto it too. But yeah, I feel like I've rambled on for a bit too long. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening or a wonderful day if you are someone else, like in the US, for example, because I know I got some US peeps with me as well. That sounds amazing, and hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you. You too, Sana. You too. And yeah, I will speak to you guys soon. Bye.